You're listening to Braless Watch, where a mother and daughter team offer their own opinions on watching TV through a feminist lens.
I'm Beth, the mom.
And I'm Lily, the daughter.
Welcome to Braless Watch, where TV watching gets a whole new perspective. Clothing is optional.
Hello.
Hello.
How's it going?
Pretty good.
Oh, good. So excited.
You're excited?
I'm excited. I'm excited about today. This is going to be a good episode, I think.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
So-
you grew up with this TV show.
I did.
And I also grew up with this TV show.
Right? I mean, sort of.
Yeah. It's a source of comfort for me.
Right.
Which is interesting,
Yeah.
considering.
So today we're going to be talking about Keeping Up Appearances, Season 1 specifically. It was created in 1990 by Roy Clark, who was also a writer. In total, there are 44 episodes. In this first season, there's only 6 episodes. In the UK, they call seasons series. In the US, we call series the whole thing, right? And then in the UK, they call series...
That's confusing.
I know it is. I'm sorry.
At least on the show, when you tap play, it says series 1.
Yeah, it actually says. I do appreciate that.
Yeah.
Because most shows don't do that nowadays.
Yeah. No, they don't.
They're not like, oh, this is season 6 or series 6, episode 12.
And I do want to mention this is a British sitcom, so it's not out of America. It's out of the UK.
Yeah, so we will be talking a lot about the UK stuff, a lot of slang words that are going to be different. We might even get into the whole biscuit cookie situation.
It's the sandwich conversation all over
It's
again.
not. It's really not. We're not.
I'm just kidding.
I'm going to be honest. We probably won't talk about the whole biscuit cookie situation. Same with chips and crisps. We're not going to get into that.
No.
If you don't know what I'm talking about, watch more British TV.
Right?
So
or just Google it.
Keeping Up Appearances was actually very popular in the UK, but it also captured large audiences in the US, Canada, Australia, Denmark, Finland, Sweden, Norway, Ireland, Belgium, and the Netherlands.
My goodness.
I know.
Really popular back then.
It was very popular. It was a very popular show, even though it only ran for 5 series in total. Mm-hmm. This first season is, I would say, a little different than the rest of the series, but it is still a good introduction into the whole show as a whole.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a bad series in total. And by series, I mean the first season.
Right, yeah.
I know, I'm going to switch between the words. Sorry. So sorry. I watch too much British TV.
How can you watch too much British TV? Is that a thing?
I know.
That's not a thing. I will say, too, that the humor from British TV is slightly different than America. It's less saccharine.
It is. It's just less in your face. It's less, let me explain to you why this is funny.
Yeah, it's not spoon-fed comedy.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of it.
It makes you think about, wait, what was just said?
Yeah, what was just said? Did you catch that? It's very quippy.
It is very quippy, yeah.
I like quippy.
I like quippy, too.
I have a few other historical pieces. In episode 3, they say 50 pence for parking.
Oh.
So that equals $1.45 today. In the UK, obviously.
Okay.
A few other historical things. No-fault divorce was not a thing until 1996.
Dang.
I know. They were late to the game.
Once you're married.
Because California in the US did it in 1969.
Wow.
So they were late to the game.
30 years later.
I know.
Wow.
But, however, they were progressive in a different way. Women could have their own bank account without the need of, a family member's approval. So
okay.
that came from 1975.
Specifically men, I would imagine.
Yeah, without needing a male family member approval. Yeah, but that came from 1975.
Ooh, okay.
There was a Sex Discrimination Act, 1975.
I'm reminded by another British TV show that mentions that. We will get in there eventually. So I'm not going to mention it here.
Okay.
Stay on your toes, people.
The last historical context thing is in episode 6. She mentions acid rain.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not really talked about anymore because the government stepped in and actually took it seriously and, tried to fix the problem with policies and regulations.
Neurodivergent brain.
Regulations.
There we go.
To actually reduce it. So basically what was happening was it started really it didn't start. It was really found in like the 60s, and it was a problem in the 70s, 80s, maybe even into the 90s in some places. But basically factories, power plants, and cars were releasing sulfur dioxide and nitrogen oxides into the atmosphere. Mm-hmm. So that was mixing with water droplets in our air, basically. Mm-hmm. And so when it would rain, it would rain weak solutions, acid solutions of nitric and sulfuric acids. So, and it would get into the soil and the waterways and mess with the pH and the life in the soil and the waterways.
Wow.
So it was wreaking havoc everywhere.
Wow.
Plants were having problems growing.
Yeah.
Wildlife was having problems. So, yeah.
I was just reminded, because I lived through that, right? Lived through that time period. And because my life was so chaotic, the only thing I remember about it is feeling the rain going, well, I don't feel anything. It doesn't do anything to my skin. Guess I'm not going to worry about it.
Because it doesn't. It's too weak for that. That's not the point. It's the compounding of the multiple. It rains a lot.
I'm a teenager in this time period, and I'm like, I don't give a crap about that.
Who could care more?
I should have cared, but I didn't have room in my life to care about that when I had other things going on in my life.
Right.
So.
Anyway.
Oh, I'm supposed to list the trigger warnings now.
Yes, you are.
I got cued. Not used to getting cued. Do you have some trigger warnings for this TV show? As you can imagine from the 1990s, there's some themes, let's just say. So trigger warning list is sexual harassment, which can get pretty creepy as we move along in the series. Sexual themes, alcoholism, smoking cigarettes, specifically cigarettes, not anything else. Gambling, financial class representation. So class of people, if you can think about that. Aging issues, discussion about suicide. So not an act of suicide, but a discussion about suicide. And then this can or cannot be a trigger warning, but the LGBT implied commentary for two different characters. So we'll get into that. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So the cast is an all-white cast, and it has a female lead, which is part of the reason why I think that we picked this show is that it's a really good show, number one, and it's really written well. But the lead in it is she's definitely a character, and we'll get into why we think that. But the all-white cast is a character named Hyacinth Bouquet, but her last name is spelled Bucket, and that's a whole theme throughout the show.
It continues to come up, so if that annoys you, just stop watching now.
Right.
Because she will continue to go Bouquet.
So anyway, it's spelled Bucket, and she's played by Patricia Rutledge, who's pretty famous over in the UK.
And is a good singer, by the way.
Oh my gosh, yes, she is a good
classically
singer.
Trained singer.
And she, on purpose, sings really badly in the show. Which, I mean, that's just takes some talent right there.
Which I don't think comes up much in this first season.
Not a lot, no.
It comes up way more in the next
season
series.
2 is definitely, because there's a character she bounces that off of.
Yeah, and it comes up, and that's because we're missing one character. We'll get to him later.
Eventually. Yeah. So she has a husband in the series named Richard Bucket. He's played by Clive Swift. She has a sister named Daisy, played by Judy Cornwell, who is also pretty famous. Daisy is married to Onslow, and he's played by Jeffrey Hughes. And they have another sister named Rose. So if you're getting a theme here, they're all named after flowers.
Like me.
Like you. And Rose is played by Shirley Stelfox in this particular series. And then Shirley is replaced by Mary Millar for season 2 and on. Shirley had schedule conflicts and couldn't come back.
Yeah, she did.
And then Elizabeth is the neighbor and the neighbor to Hyacinth right next door. And she's played by Josephine Tewson. So, yeah. a pretty big cast.
It is.
And actually, that's not everybody.
It's not. And there's way more characters in this. There's a lot of characters, and that's just what would be called the quote unquote main cast, because they're in every episode or almost every episode. But there's more secondary, tertiary characters, and some of those we don't even see, as like Sheridan.
Right.
And we'll get to I'll talk about Sheridan in a minute.
Yeah.
But, so
it's set in a town. So
yeah. It is set in it's set in like a single town. That's supposed to be like on the outskirts of London, I think.
Like north of London is, I think, if I remember like the map right.
In between London and like the deep countryside, because they go on drives to the countryside and things like that.
So in UK terms or British terms, it's a town, not a city. So London is a city. Then this is a town, and then they have villages that are out in the country
that are even smaller.
And then there's rural. So they're way out there where you have land and land and land, and nowhere.
There's nothing.
Just animals and farm. So yeah, this is a town. There's actual, stores, and there's even a department store and things like that. So it's a pretty hopping town.
It is.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the characters. So let's first talk about the sibling order here. So there's Hyacinth, who's the oldest. Daisy is the second oldest. Then there's Violet, who we haven't brought up yet. And then Rose. Rose is the youngest, which explains a lot. Talking about Violet real quick, we only meet her through Hyacinth's phone calls.
Yeah.
We don't actually see her until series 5.
Yeah.
So don't expect to see her anytime soon.
But she gets talked about.
About a lot because Hyacinth sort of wishes she was Violet.
Yeah, she wishes that
she's
she
jealous
was in
of Violet.
The class that Violet represents.
Violet married into a higher class than Hyacinth.
Money, yeah.
Into money. Violet's husband is Bruce, and I can get into that real quick. Hyacinth likes to talk about Bruce and Violet a lot because it's like, oh, my sister. Yeah, I'm an upper class because it's because of my sister, right? She tries to use that. Bruce is a turf accountant who, which is just the posh way of saying a bookie. That's all that is. He's a bookie.
So he's not a turf.
No.
Like
modern turf. No. It's TURF accountant. And it's basically for sporting events. It's bets for sporting events. He normally does horse races, as you'll find out over time. They talk about jockeys and things like that.
Well, even in this first episode of the series 1, she gets on the phone and there's a mention of that, right? About a whip. Yeah, about a whip, and that's really funny. But it's only funny if you know he's a turf accountant with horse races. Well, and Richard does. The husband mentions was that because he works with horses or whatever? Yeah. So it's not reference around, but it's not really mentioned until episode 6 that he's a bookie. Yeah. Yeah. It sounds like he works with horses rather than is just a bookie. And I find it interesting that he's a bookie, and he has money, and he makes his money this way. And Hyacinth kind of poo-poos that and shoves it under the rug and goes, I can talk about that. Well, let's talk about the fact that they have money. Well, and she does say that he's a turf accountant. She says it like it's a grand thing. Yeah. Interesting. She does. And because she says it to the vicar. She also says, I guess over there that's something that to be revered. Especially for sports betting, I would say yes. Wow. Okay. Especially for horse racing, because you got to think of like old money, kind of Kentucky Derby kind of. Okay. Yeah. Situation. Okay. That's I could see how that would be. Put it into American terms here. Yeah. Yeah. So, she also mentions he's a Rotarian, which is a member of the Rotary International, which is, works to provide services to others, promote integrity, and advance world understanding, goodwill, and peace through the fellowship of business, professional, and community leaders. Okay. They're still active. That's still a thing. Oh, wow. Yeah. Interesting. Okay. I know. Anyway, so that's what I have on Bruce.
he's not the main person we should be talking about because you don't meet him until season... Well, actually, I don't think we meet him. There's a few times you see him, but you don't meet him. Yeah,
there's a few times you see him, but we never meet him. No.
You do meet Violet way later in the series, but she's mostly talked about. So let's talk about Hyacinth real quick. Hyacinth is the domineering housewife to Richard and the overbearing mother to Sheridan, who we also don't see. We never see Sheridan.
Nope. Sheridan is away at school.
He's away at school. He's, well, we can get into that, but he's specifically at the Poly. Hyacinth grew up poor, but pretends like she didn't. She tries to pretend that that's not her life, that's not her background, that she's actually upper class, aka posh. And the problem with that is that she doesn't know all the ins and outs like she thinks she does, and so it gets her into trouble. And she also cares way too much about what other people think about her and Richard.
Well, she cares about what others think, but she also cares about what she thinks about stuff too.
Right.
Her judgment.
She's very judgmental.
Yeah.
She's very judgmental.
Yeah. It's very obsessive.
Yes.
Yeah.
So Richard, let's move on to Richard. He is the submissive husband to Hyacinth. Richard is actually a very chill and even slightly boring guy when he's on his own. However, he doesn't get much time to himself because of Hyacinth. Later in the series, he equates living with her as to being in the military.
Yes.
Other characters seem to like him. Many of them pity him, so they are always kind.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Daisy is the laid-back housewife of Onslow. She tries to keep the house in order, somewhat, and take care of her father, Daddy. But she also lets people just be who they are, including letting Daddy just leave the house whenever he wants.
So in that household, right, if we could just take a moment to map that out.
Right.
It's Onslow and Daisy, right? They're like, that's their home. But they allow Rose to stay there, which is the youngest sister. And then the father is there because Rose and Daisy are basically taking care of the father.
They're caretakers.
Yeah.
So they sit around and take care of him. That's part of what they do with their time. I also wrote, she also has a higher libido than Onslow. Daisy does, which causes her to be insecure, thinking that he doesn't like her.
Yeah, I did mention this in my notes about
anymore.
Daisy being obsessed with love. And this comes later in the series where you'll see her reading romance novels and things like this. So she gets influenced by other people's ideals about love. And so, yeah, we get a taste of that right at the end of this series. And the way she talks about it. And it's a different approach than her sisters. Right.
Which we'll get to.
Yeah.
Onslow is the slob of a husband to Daisy. That's what I wrote. He's generally a good guy and cares about people, though he leans on Daisy way too much. He gambles and drinks too much and does not have a job. He lives off of...
His job is gambling.
Well, he lives off pension.
He does live off pension, yeah.
Yeah.
Do you want to explain what pension is?
No, you can go ahead.
As far as I understand it, pension is a lot like disability or some other kind of government assistance, as far as I understand it. Unless he worked before this, got laid off in some kind of way.
So you'd have to work. You'd have to work.
So he must have had some kind of job before this. We don't get much history on him.
No.
We don't barely get any history on their marriage. And in this series, we learn they've been married for 20 years at this point.
They've been married for a really long time. I'm assuming he's getting pension for some specific reason because I briefly looked up pensions for a different thing because Hyacinth mentions how marriage would affect Daddy's pensionable status. And I tried to look it up and then got lost in the weeds.
I wonder if this has to do with serving in the military.
It could. I'm not sure.
I don't know that Onslow did serve in the military.
I don't think so. But he might have and just been on base. We don't know. So we don't know.
Yeah, because Daddy, the character Daddy, did serve in the military.
We definitely know that because he served in World War II.
Yeah. So.
I have two more characters left because there's a huge cast. So Rose is the highly sexual sister of Daisy, who she lives with. She's very dramatic and thinks too big of the men she quote-unquote dates. Most of them end up being husbands of other wives.
Yes.
That comes up a lot. There's very few people she keeps for herself, like Reg, or Boris. Boris comes up a lot of being one of her regular dates, quote unquote.
I like you to call it dates when I call it suitors in my notes. They're not really suitors either.
They're not suitors.
Lovers?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Affairs.
Affairs? Yeah, it's better.
She's very dramatic. She's
one that really pours her emotional heart into these connections.
She cares
and then
so much.
Gets so disappointed because she's rejected at every point because they're not available to her.
No. She thought they were available. They're not available.
Well, she's using sex as a vehicle to get her emotional connection.
And
then
it's not
realizes,
working.
Yeah, every time. Every time.
Works. I will say the first Rose in this first season is a little different than Mary's version later.
Yeah.
Mary Miller. She plays Rose for the rest of the series. So Shirley's version is a little bit different. She's a little more dramatic, but in the wanting kind of way, if that makes any sense.
Well,
she's just wanting
Mary brought
that
a more
attention.
comedic kind of edge to it. I don't know if that Shirley was really too serious, but I don't know if it could be the writing too.
It could be. The series is a little different from 2 on, so it could just be the writing. Yeah. I'm not quite sure.
Yeah.
Elizabeth, final person. She is probably the most sane person on the series. Elizabeth is Hyacinth's neighbor and probably Hyacinth's only real friend. She's a very caring person whose husband works in the Middle East. So she's mostly alone. She also has a daughter who's a similar age to Sheridan, Gail. Gail lives with her boyfriend, Harold. They're unwed. Ooh. That was a big thing for Hyacinth to talk about. Elizabeth tends to be very nervous in Hyacinth's house and just around Hyacinth in general because of obvious reasons.
I mean, it may not be obvious to our audience, but as you get to know
she's very domineering and very
she's domineering
loud.
And she's very
she also doesn't listen. Hyacinth doesn't.
Oh gosh, no Hyacinth listens to Hyacinth.
Yeah. She listens to no one else. She doesn't even listen to Richard.
She's so caught up in her own I wrote this in my notes. She's so caught up in her own fantasy of how she wants life to be. And this is very similar to the other sisters too. They get caught up in what they're investing in and then get solely disappointed when it doesn't work out the way they thought they had it all ironed out.
I would say Daisy is the most even keel. Not keel.
She's the least amount of emotional. She's stable.
Yeah.
Emotionally for the most part.
Yeah.
With exception to Onslow when she's trying to be dramatic
or sexual
or trying to gain his attention. From a mental health perspective, Hyacinth is very attached to her identity that she's created, right?
Yes.
This isn't an identity that she's discovered about herself. This is an identity that she's adapted to herself.
Yes.
Because she doesn't want to face the truth of where she comes from.
Exactly.
And that comes up because she has to go over. And it's 2 sides of one coin for her because she feels like she is the leader in her sisterhood.
Well, she is because she's the matriarch because Daddy's too old now.
Right.
So she is the oldest out of her whole family. So she is the matriarch. And she she really likes being in control. So she likes that position.
Right.
She likes being there. But then she can't control other people.
No.
Even though she tries.
Right.
Very, very hard.
Right.
And it doesn't work.
Right.
She tries to control Rose. She tries to control Daisy.
Is it the first episode where they refer to her as the Queen Mother?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Queen Mother's outside.
So if that gives you any indication about her ability to expect the, tightness of control and then walk into complete chaos.
They also mention her coming over as a royal visit.
Right. Yeah. So I wrote some things about Hyacinth, and I'll just read them here. And I wrote, Hyacinth continually tries to convince everyone she encounters, no matter her relationship with them or how long she has known them, it doesn't matter. She cannot let go of the ideal that she has been born into a financial class that attracts others what a sentence, Beth. Okay. I'm rereading it now. I'm like, what did I write? That's a run-on sentence is what that is.
It's just words on a page at this point.
She cannot let go of her ideal of being born into a financial class that was lower than what she ascribes to or tries to get into, right? Mm-hmm. She comes from lower class. She doesn't even come from middle class. So it's not even... No,
she comes from where Daisy and Onslow and Rose and they all live, because it's mentioned, Richard mentions to Hyacinth, why would you take Daddy out of where he grew up? Why would you take him away?
There.
He was born there. Why would you take him away from there?
Yeah. And I think at some point, one episode, I'm not sure if it was in this series, but a Hyacinth refers to it as, what did she refer it to? It's like, gosh, I'm going to have to remember now.
Bahrain?
Something like that.
Beirut,
not
it's
Bahrain. Beirut. I knew it was
and it is it's in the first episode.
Yeah. So
she equates it to Beirut.
Yeah. So anyway, there's a reference there to it being in the slums, being...
Yeah. It was a B.
Yeah, it was a B. Yeah.
I knew we'd get there.
It takes two of us.
I know.
So she tries to distance herself in every aspect from her origin. So she tries to make it seem like she doesn't come from that at all. Mm-hmm. And I wrote in there that Daisy's lifestyle is likely reminiscent of how she grew up.
Yeah.
So the chaos, the dirt, the
in
broken things.
I will say the first episode, Onslow and Daisy's house is trashier than the rest of the series.
Yeah.
In this first season, it is just trashier. It gets less trashy in the second episode. It's still dirty. It's just not trashy.
Yeah.
So
actual trash.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't mean like just broken things everywhere. I mean actual trash.
Yeah. I did laugh at the last episode of this series in episode 6, when Daisy is trying to get the sherry glasses out of the...
Yes.
That whole little scene is like the encompassing...
Oh, yeah. Of all the problems.
It has a huge ashtray that is domed with cigarette butts. You can just smell it from the TV.
Well, I don't know if you noticed this, but when she's pulling out the sherry glasses, she's using a pair of underwear to clean them.
Yes, that's what I was going to mention. It's like a pair of boxers or some kind of boxer brief combo.
They do look clean.
They do look clean, but it made me laugh because I had never noticed that before.
I didn't notice it either, and I wrote it down.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my gosh.
And of course, you have this woman who's all dressed up, right, to go to her granddaughter's christening, which is the whole episode's about. And she's trying to wipe these sherry glasses with this underwear. And I'm just like, wow.
What an image.
And some of us know what that life is like. Some of us come from that, right? This is all you have. This is what's at hand. It's clean.
It's clean. You know it is. You cleaned it.
Yeah. And even Daisy later says, I gave you the cleanest glass. I gave you the best glass that I had.
She did. And she does it every time.
Yeah.
So let's go to the glasses real quick. Not the sherry glasses specifically. Let's talk about glasses in general, because drinking glasses. Because it comes up a lot where Hyacinth's constantly complaining about mugs, teacups, beakers, all those things. Right. She's constantly complaining. Specifically, she uses the word beaker for cups, meaning mugs, basically, that are not in a tea set.
Right.
That are not from a china set.
Right.
Right. So then she uses the word beaker, meaning any other mug outside of that. Any other.
So it's not in a collect.
Any cup that you would put hot liquid in outside of that. She uses the word beaker. However, that is an incorrect usage of that. They don't use that over there. It's been asked multiple times on Reddit and different threads of, do you guys use the word beaker? Because in the US we don't. Beaker is a scientific thing.
Right.
It's a scientific vessel.
It has to do with chemistry.
It does.
In labs.
That's how you mix solutions, chemicals, things like that.
It's also a puppet.
That's a different thing. That's a different kind of beaker. Anyway, but Hyacinth misuses this word beaker, so she had to have learned it from some posh family, who knows where, to use this word in an incorrect way. And she continues to do it.
Yeah. It's interesting. I never knew that. Might learn something new today.
Right?
Okay.
I have one interesting tidbit, and I didn't know where to put it, but it does show who Hyacinth really is. So the doorbell. In the show, every time the doorbell rings, or most of the time the doorbell rings, there's a laugh from the audience or the laugh track, whatever.
Interesting.
I don't know if you've ever noticed that.
No, I never did notice that.
The reason they laugh is because the doorbell is not a standard doorbell ring. It's not a buzzer. It's not.
We wouldn't know that here.
We wouldn't know that in the U.S. We wouldn't notice that. However, the bells that are there when you hit the doorbell is the Westminster bells, which is Big Ben.
Of course it is. That makes so much sense now with other episodes I've seen.
Which is Big Ben.
Do you remember the couch episode?
Yep.
This is not in this series, but...
Yeah, when they ring the doorbell and somebody is standing there and goes, "Oh God," or rings the doorbell and there's a laugh. That's why. It's because it's Big Ben's bells.
So it's a cultural reference that we wouldn't necessarily get. Okay.
It is.
I've been watching this show for years. Never knew that.
Yep.
Again, learned something new. Thank you for that.
You're welcome. Let's talk about episode 1. So episode 1 is a little bit complicated. And it's hard.
Episode 1 was hard to...
Shall we talk about
slog through, man.
So if I would suggest, before we get into it, if you've only watched episode 1 and went, "This show is not for me because it's not funny," watch episode 2.
Yeah.
Because episode 1 is not that great. It's a great introduction to all of the characters, to even Bruce and Sheridan. I would like to also point out that in the first episode, that is the only time Hyacinth says no to Sheridan and hangs up on him. Okay. Because he was going to join the Sword of the People, quote unquote, which was going to rob somewhere, rob a bank.
He'll pay his daddy back when he robs the first bank.
Yeah, that's
Hyacinth
the only time. That's the only time she hangs up on him. That's the only time she says no to him.
Yeah.
Most of the time, she just gives him whatever money she wants.
Right. And we learn more about his relationship in season 2.
Yes.
Yeah.
But anyway.
His relationship with Hyacinth in season 2. Yeah. So back to the episode 1 is very, very...
it's called Daddy's Accident.
It's complicated, written well. There's a lot to it. It feels like it's like 45 minutes to an hour, and I know it's not that long.
It's only 30 minutes. All of these episodes are only 30 minutes.
Every little scene is like one act plays just back to back to back to back.
So this is the benefit of UK shows. When we say 30 minutes, they are 30 minutes long. They're not 22. Because in US, if you say a 30-minute show, that means 22 because of commercial and ad breaks. In the UK, they do commercial and ad breaks at the beginning and end of each show.
Man, luxury.
Or at least that's how they used to do it. I'm fairly certain that's still how they do it.
Luxury. I love it.
Because even a newer show like Ghost UK, the original, they are 30 minutes too.
Okay. So what we're missing out on.
I know.
One more little tick for British TV. Go British TV.
Right.
So what do you want to talk about first in episode 1?
Shall we talk about the major and get it over with?
Yeah, I guess we'll just pull the...
Let's talk about the hard things first, and then we can talk about the fun things, because I have a whole blurb on tea etiquette.
Okay.
And so let's end somewhere near there and not end on the major.
Okay. So we are introduced to the major when he walks by in the morning.
Yep.
With a dog that never comes back. I
have the quote if you want it.
Sure.
He walks by and says, "By gum, woman, you could drive a man mad looking so attractive so early in the day."
Creep. Just creeping on. Ugh.
And she is socially forced to smile and walk in the door.
Because she forced herself there. That's the thing. This is Hyacinth's ideal, right? So yeah, she forces herself in that little box
She
to
does.
then endure things like this.
Mm-hmm.
And it comes up again and again, unfortunately.
It comes up in 3 episodes total, or maybe 4.
Yeah, maybe I'm
But-
just super sensitive to it. But the major is not a nice dude.
He's not. He does technically have a wife. We don't know that at this point, but he does technically have a wife.
Mm-hmm.
We never meet her.
Mm-hmm.
We never meet her.
I'm trying to think. Didn't he say something else in that little exchange in the morning when
Nope,
he was?
that's it.
I thought he did. Oh no, he did, because Hyacinth reminds him of a dinner party that will be held later, and he says he wouldn't miss it and calls her a minx.
Oh, I missed that.
Mm-hmm.
I was writing the other quote.
And I don't think he meant it in a way that was complimentary. Let's just say, not in the way that would be like.
No, luckily the major doesn't show up in the rest of the season.
Yes.
So if the major bothers you, don't watch the first episode, which is fair. And just skip to the second episode.
Yeah, because he starts the episode out with walking by in the morning, and then at the end of the episode,
At the very end.
that caps this, he calls her at her home right after she gets off the phone with Sheridan and asks her if she wants to come to get flowers for her
candlelight supper.
Right, for her dinner party. And she accepts, and she goes to his flower shop, his florist shop or whatever.
It's not a florist shop. It's a
She calls
greenhouse.
it a conservatory, but yeah.
It's a greenhouse, basically.
I think that's the same thing, yeah.
They have a bunch of words for those kind of things.
They do.
We'll get there.
But, you can grow stuff over there.
You can.
They have the weather for it.
It's too hot here, at least where we are.
Yeah, really. Although not today. But,
No.
so she goes, and he takes that opportunity to force himself on her.
He does. He fully strokes her hair.
Ugh,
It
getting
was
the creeps right now.
It's bad. And tries to kiss her.
cringy.
He chases her around the greenhouse. She
Yeah.
ends up leaving her jacket there with him.
Right.
Because he took it out of her hand to try to
And
grab
leaves
her.
with crushed flowers in her
Yep.
arms. Yeah.
And she tries to placate the situation by giving excuses such as, I must rush. I left the oven on while she's running around. All of this is played for laughs. It's not funny.
Yeah. She's
don't-
even giggling.
Yeah.
I don't know if you noticed that.
She's trying.
She's got this
but it's
high-pitched
like a
giggle.
fake laugh.
Yeah.
It's not real.
Well, she's trying to fawn. That's what the trauma
She's
response
trying
is.
to placate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To get out of it.
To
yeah.
get out of it. Yeah.
Yeah. And he continues to chase after her, and it's just terrible.
And then
she does get out of it and
She
walks
does.
home.
And then when she sees Richard immediately asks her what's wrong.
Yeah,
And
of course.
She says, oh, it's nothing.
Right. And then she placates further and says if he was a sergeant instead of a major, he would never step foot in this house.
Mm-hmm. He's lucky he's a major.
Which I meant to look up, but I didn't.
I didn't either. I don't.
Because I
know.
don't like the guy. So
I meant to
wanna
look it up
give
too.
him too much of that. Oh, sorry, people. You can Google that crap.
Or maybe we'll do it at another time.
So I was going to mention back when he called her a minx, because I'm sitting here thinking about it now, that minx probably implies that, that she's sneaky about her ability to trap men. But I don't know for sure. I'd have to look it up.
I don't think that's that. I don't think it's that. I don't think it's that.
That's implied, I think, here.
Okay, so that's the major. We're not going to talk about him again the rest of the episode.
Creepy, cringy
this
dude.
episode on our podcast.
Right.
He will come up again when we talk about keeping up.
And
Appearances
really, he doesn't
season
add
2.
anything to the show. So just going to put that out there. He doesn't
really
add
doesn't.
anything to the comedy. He doesn't add anything to the content.
Yeah. So let's talk about more fun things. So when Hyacinth is walking around her house, she talks about emulsioning the ceiling and how it needs to be done. Now, emulsioning the ceiling is just painting the ceiling, number one. And it's using a specific water-based paint, and that's supposed to be durable and last for years. Richard says something along the lines of how we just had it done. So that means it doesn't need to be done.
And yet she wants to get it done in just a few hours for her dinner party.
Yeah, in just a few hours, because
Right.
the dinner party's tonight.
So this is an introduction to Hyacinth's high expectation.
And demand.
And this is, I wrote a really cool little sentence about that. Speaks to her unreasonable demands and outlook. So she has a series of unreasonable demands, and she gets caught up in that. Right? It's a web. She catches herself in these.
She does.
Because she has this expectation and no one can meet it. Even herself, she can't meet it.
No.
So,
But she doesn't care if she doesn't meet it. It's
Right.
if Richard doesn't meet it or
Right,
the
or
rest
whoever,
of society doesn't meet it.
Yeah. But she has unreasonable demands all the time. And they're fodder. It's the joke.
Yeah.
It's the crux of the whole show, actually.
It is. It really is.
Yeah.
In the first episode, Daddy gets in an accident, and he ends up in the hospital. So,
oh my gosh, yes, this scene is so funny.
I was going to talk about how hospitals in the UK actually still have visiting hours. That's still a thing. Mm-hmm. In the US, you don't have visiting hours. Not really.
ICU does.
ICU's different. Regular hospital rooms, they don't have visiting hours. Not here in the US. Most of them don't. You can go see your loved one whenever. UK, a little different. And each hospital is different on what hours are their hours. So you gotta look it up whenever you go. So I found that interesting.
That is interesting.
Because she has to go during visiting time.
Right. And in the series, she goes into a place called the ward. So it must be a wing to the actual hospital. So, and there's other beds.
And she has to talk to the ward sister and things like that.
Right. And they're
I'm assuming it's some kind of Catholic hospital.
Probably. And they're not Catholic, maybe. The Church of England.
Oh, C of E.
Yeah. Not Catholic. I don't think. I don't know. We'd have to look that up.
I'd have to look that one up.
Okay. Stand by, people. We're going to have to look that up. We'll come back to that. So, the ward is just several beds. There's no privacy.
Yeah.
So, I'm guessing, too, that this ward this is what I was thinking, is that based on the...
Oh, it has nothing to do with religion at all. It's just a senior nurse.
Ah, okay. There you go.
It started out, that's modern times. It started out, military and religious, but
it does
not now.
Speak to the religious, or not that speak. It speaks to the military part because throughout wars and stuff, right, they would have wards and
you'd have to
triages and things like that, where there would be bed after bed after bed after bed, no privacy. Right, it's just stacks of beds along a wall, and that's basically what this scene was. Is there were several beds in one room. And what I caught on to was that this is probably low income availability to hospital care, because there's no privacy. Number one, so no private bedrooms, no nothing like that. Shared bathrooms. Daisy
and Rose have no money.
No.
Daisy and Rose, those are his caretakers. They have no money.
Right. They might get money from his.
They might get it from pension and things like that. They might get money from Violet and Hyacinth.
Yeah, for caring for him.
Caring for him, but they don't get a lot of money.
Also, I want to mention here that the UK has national health.
They do. They do have national health care. It may not be always amazing, but it's better than the US.
Which means it's available to everybody.
It is.
Without knowing what kind of income you have.
So along the same line, Hyacinth mentions in that episode about how Daddy's in line for an old person's bungalow. So I looked that up because I was trying to figure out what the hell is that. It's closed care housing for older people, usually a flat or a bungalow, that's on the same site as the care home. And then it's like a step into a care home where you need full services. Care home is where you need full services. A closed care home is where you get specialty services when you need it, but otherwise you're left on your own.
Reminds me of another British TV show that we're probably going to watch.
Oh no!
I'm sitting here thinking about Hyacinth in this first episode, continually creating scenarios or reasons why a certain thing happened. So Daddy fell into the canal or drove into the canal. We didn't get clear details on that.
It's not quite clear, but also he was naked, so that's not
right,
the main
and injured
point
himself.
Of it.
So, and she's trying to conceptualize how to make that sound better. So she said the canal was, it's polluted and it eroded his clothing.
Yeah, that's the reason why.
Which is not true.
It's not true.
But she was just trying to make it sound better.
Right.
And then he drove into the canal to save a person that he was, which is also not true.
Also not true. Yeah.
He was actually drunk.
He was drunk, yeah. Drunk and chasing the milkwoman.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. We do find that Daddy and Rose share their sexual appetite. Well, I guess like Daisy too, for that matter.
Daisy less so because it's focused solely on Onslow.
Right. Yeah.
To Onslow's dismay.
Right. He's like, he's not
I don't
interested.
care about that.
I'm just going to mention here, I think it's because Onslow is an alcoholic.
That could be part of it.
Yeah, he just doesn't focus on that. That and gambling. His addictions take over. It doesn't come across as a comment or anything like that. It's actually an under theme for that dynamic, that marriage.
Yeah.
But because I'm a mental health practitioner, I can see how that would be super domineering in the relationship and how Daisy feels neglected because of those things.
Could be.
Yeah.
It could also just be the society in general. But also, I think it's a good thing to note that this is a show from the 90s, and she is the one who wants sex more than he does.
Right.
Which is a huge thing, right? Even though it's a small little detail about their lives.
Yeah.
It's a huge thing because normally it's the opposite.
Right. Yeah.
In most shows, it's the opposite.
Onslow and Richard are both green flag guys for the most part. Yeah.
Onslow has his problems, but he's a generally good guy. He does lean on Daisy too much.
Yeah. I mean, it's heteronormative.
It's heteronormative. She wants to be the housewife. Yeah. She does.
There's another trigger warning at the moment. Heteronormative stuff for sure.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So in this episode, Hyacinth is making tea for Elizabeth. And when we first see her, we watch Hyacinth pour water out of the teapot. Mm-hmm. And then it's steaming and then put stuff in it. Mm-hmm. So the reason for that is because what you do, teapot etiquette, basically, that's how I wrote it, is you warm the teapot with hot water and then you empty it. Mm-hmm. Then you add the tea leaves to the teapot. Then you add the hot water. Let it steep, and then you strain it over people's cups. Mm-hmm. That's how you do tea in a teapot.
And then you dress your tea.
Oh, and then you dress your tea. Oh, of course.
Yeah, you don't dress it. Americans, listen to me carefully here. You do not dress your tea before the tea is made in there.
Actually, that's up for debate on most British people, too. I'm just saying.
Okay, I'm a stickler for that. You dress your tea after the tea has been made.
Well, okay, so you're also informed by tea bags. This is for tea leaves in...
I do tea leaves too.
I'm just saying.
I'm not a snob to tea bags or tea leaves.
I'm just saying that you're informed that way.
That's just by convenience at the moment. But I do have loose leaf tea.
I know you do, but I'm just saying.
And drink loose leaf tea.
We don't have a teapot that's regularly used.
No, because there are only two people.
Not a thing. Well, that's not a thing in America.
No. We're probably weird because we have an electric kettle.
We do. We are the weird ones.
Every day.
We do use it every day.
I drink tea every day, so.
I have one more thing for this episode, and it's not tea related.
Okay.
It's Sheridan related.
Okay.
So, Hyacinth mentions Sheridan is going to the Poly.
Yes.
So, that's a polytechnic school, which is mostly focused on trades and stuff like that.
Okay.
And she's talking about how he was going to be able to go to Cambridge and things like that. He probably wasn't at that time because they were not treated as universities until 1992. Then they were switched into a university status. But before that, they were not universities. They were just schools for trades.
Okay. Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
The reason I say it's interesting like that because we find out that Sheridan, at the end of the episode, is it the end of this episode or the beginning?
Probably not.
No, it's probably the next episode, I think. We find out, though, that Sheridan is not really as academic as
no,
Hyacinth
and that
would
comes
like
up
him
multiple
to
times.
be. Let's just say.
It is the end of this episode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's not academic.
I think. It comes up a lot.
Yeah. That's
a normal thing. But yeah, there was a whole act about switching polytechnic schools into university status in 1992.
So in this first episode, too, Hyacinth is very hyacinthy, for lack of a better way of describing that. She is I can't tell you how many times I wrote speaks to her unreasonable demands. She just continually speaks in these ways that it's just like you just want to roll your eyes every time. Like that's just not going to happen. Right?
Well, and that's the point. I think they just kind of overdo it in that first episode.
They do overdo it a little bit, but they're introducing her.
As it's a pilot and that's how they were selling it, right. I'm not surprised.
I'm trying to think about, so when we meet Hyacinth, So it doesn't start out with Hyacinth, right? There's a scene right at the very beginning, which I don't understand why this is the first scene, but and it changes after this. So it's not that this first episode is so weird in this way.
Is.
It starts out with the nighttime where they're showing an ambulance and all these things, and Rose and Daisy. We don't even know who Rose and Daisy are. And they talk about trying to tell
and
Hyacinth about it.
They show all these people who are watching
the
neighborhood, and all of these people don't show up again, which is really funny because at one point Daisy does quote unquote introduce us to the neighbors down the line in one of the episodes.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah.
And none of these people are there.
Right? None of those. Yeah. Later. Yeah. No.
None of these people are there.
Yeah. Then we move to the normal intro, which is usually she's talking to some kind of service provider and some kind of mailman, milkman.
Or on the phone.
Or she's on the phone. Yeah. So there's other intros that come with every episode after this.
Yeah, this is one of the few ones that
start
with
differently.
Hyacinth.
Yeah. So the reason I brought that up is because the intro to Hyacinth really speaks to her unreasonable demands. So she's talking to the mailman.
Mm-hmm.
She's talking to the mailman and she's like, wait, you don't have mail for me? And he's walking to the neighbor's house and she's like, where's my mail? And he's like, I don't have any mail for you. I've got mail for the neighbor. And she's like, you'll find that I am high class and I get mail. She's just like talking
mail
about
equates her popularity. That's what it comes down to. And she's not popular.
No one really likes her. No. She's hard to get along with, and that comes up in the.
It does.
Is it the last or second to last episode?
It's the second to last episode where the two ladies. It's the
church ladies.
Church ladies. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the Toy Boy episode.
Toy Boy episode. Yeah. Yeah. So we find out that Hyacinth has no friends.
No real friends.
She doesn't connect to people in that way because she's living in her disillusioned fantasy world, and no one can relate to her there.
No.
Yeah. So, okay. I think that's it for the first episode, at least.
Well, luckily, the next episodes are going to be easier. I have less and less for each one.
Yes.
Except for episode 6.
Yes. Also, I just want to mention for the first episode, too, that the growth of Richard's character and the growth of Elizabeth's character, too, as the series move on and you watch the rest of the whole thing in its entirety, they end up getting a little bit of a spine, the two of them.
Yeah.
And
in this first
speak up for themselves.
This whole first season, them two have this weird relationship. It's almost flirty, and you can't tell what it is. They have this relationship of
I actually spoke to that. I wrote something about how they share something quiet between them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
There is a quote towards the end of I think it's the end of the 6th episode, where Elizabeth says, life's tricky enough for most of us, but for you it must be. And then she gets cut off by Hyacinth saying Richard.
It does, yeah. Yeah, but Richard and Elizabeth have an unspoken, shared
trauma.
Yeah, really. It's a shared experience of Hyacinth, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because they're the two people that are really the closest to her. Mm-hmm. They live with her. They engage with her. Mm-hmm. They consent to be in a relationship with Hyacinth at Hyacinth's terms.
They do.
And that speaks to something there. It's hard to define, really, but they both share in that. And you can see the exchanges. The actors did really, really well in the unspoken body language, looks, the eye exchanges without saying anything to each other. Mm-hmm. So there is a shared something there. But it's not sexual. It's not friendly. It's just this shared experience. Like, I understand what you're going through. And I feel for you, right? I have empathy for you and sympathy for you.
Right.
Because you're experiencing this thing. Yeah. And they do trade off. They share because Richard has to work. So he goes to work during the day and Elizabeth kind of takes over in the caretaking, as it were, of Hyacinth and
dealing with Hyacinth during the day. Yeah. Yeah. Because they go to church together and they do a bunch of stuff together.
They have a social life together.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Episode 2 is the new vicar.
So the episode 2, the trigger warning for suicide is in this one. It starts out with discussing suicide right off the bat.
It does. Rose is... She's only known this guy for a week, but she threatened to commit suicide, so she said she's going to.
Right. She has to fulfill her word, as it were.
Basically.
Even though she's not really suicidal.
Begging for the wedding dress. Her mother's wedding dress.
Dear mummies.
Yeah.
Dead. Wait. Dead mummies. Dear dead mummies wedding dress.
Something
is how
like
he said that. Yeah.
There's a lot to
line.
this episode. So in the very, very beginning, Hyacinth gets off the phone. I don't even know with who. Oh, it was the bakery.
Oh, the bakery. This is the same thing where they introduce you to Hyacinth having an extreme demand.
So she wants
that makes no sense in the regular social world or any kind of other world, right? She wants them to meet her expectations when no one can understand what those are, even when she's trying to convey it.
6 fresh cream cakes delivered to her house.
Superior cream cakes.
Delivered to her house today.
Right. On a Saturday.
That's not when you order that. You order it 2 days before.
And she calls it a large order.
No, they call it a large order.
No, Hyacinth calls it a large order, and they go, that's not a large order.
Oh.
And they argue with her about that.
Oh, I misinterpreted that.
Yeah. Then they hang up on her because
they do. And then
she's being unreasonable.
Right? And then she says hoi polloi.
She does.
Which I had to look that up because I was like, I don't know what that is. Hoi polloi basically means commoner in this case, but it really means the people and comes from ancient Greek.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah. But in Hyacinth terms, it
means commoner.
Commoner or, yeah. Okay.
Shall we talk about gypsies real quick?
Gypsies?
Yeah.
Sure.
So they come up in this episode. There is a self-proclaimed gypsy in this episode. However, gypsies are now called Romani, number 1. Mm-hmm. And there's a mention of, because the one gypsy kidnapped, quote unquote, daddy. That's not what happened. He followed her out. She was at the house. And Richard mentioned something about how they traditionally kidnap children. So that's not the case. That's a myth. Romani people that's not a thing. Never done that.
It's a made-up thing.
It's a made-up thing because nomadic travelers and poor people, as well as others, were used as scapegoats.
Of course.
Throughout history and all across Europe, and many Romani people fell into those categories. So they were used as scapegoats. And
wow.
So I have a feeling that goes for LGBTQ people and all other kinds of people who fall into that.
I mean, it speaks to the commentary of the whole show, right? The whole premise of the show is financial class. Mm-hmm. That's where Hyacinth, she's literally on her high horse about that.
Well, she doesn't really talk about the gypsy. It was Richard.
But I mean, the show itself, so the writers, right? They centralize around that. So that makes sense. Yeah.
There is one more thing that I have for this episode, and it's Hyacinth mentions to the new vicar that Richard comes, like his family's from France.
Yeah.
And she mentioned...
Eugenics,
yes. And I was like, wait, what exactly is eugenics? So I looked it up. They're French Protestants who fought against the Catholics in the 16th century. That's what eugenics are.
16th century. Yeah. We're in the 1990s here.
And that's what she's worried about.
Wow.
Who would be worried about that? Who would care?
Wow. Okay. Delusions.
Oh, yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
She's got a lot of them. Yeah.
There's a funny scene where Richard gets to embarrass Hyacinth when he pokes her in the butt with the...
He does, but he doesn't mean it. That's the thing.
He doesn't, but him and Elizabeth share the look.
They do. They share that look of, oh my gosh, can't believe I got to see that.
And also laugh, right? Internally.
Internally. Of course. They're like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That's their look, but in reality, they're dying on the inside.
It's so funny.
So moving on to episode 3.
Episode 3.
Okay, so episode 3 is probably my favorite.
Okay.
I don't know why.
I was going to say why, but...
I'm not quite sure why. There's a lot to episode 3. Starting off with Hyacinth's unknowing of what she wants. So they're continually going to the indecision of, let's go to Cardone Hall first.
I was trying to count how many times she did it. I think it was like 4. Oh, okay.
It was 3 times. And the gas attendant, of course, because they do full service there.
Do you want to explain what full service is?
Full service is where, full service, they still have it in New Jersey, is where you don't pump your own gas. There's an attendant who does it for you, so you don't have to get out of your car. You just hand them money or your card.
Privilege and...
I know. So they used to have it in Oregon too. They got rid of that a few years ago. So now it's just in New Jersey in the States. I don't know if they still do it in the UK. I didn't look it up.
But there's a dinger thing, a wire that dings every time the car.
Know that there's somebody coming so he can come out or they can come out. So
the gas
starts with that. You also get the introduction to the dog. I think that's another reason why I like this episode.
Oh, yeah. So the Daisy and Onslow's front lawn, which would be called a front garden.
Yeah. Has a dead car in it.
Dead, broken car with no doors, or some doors are missing or whatever.
It has no tires.
Right. And in episode 1, they arrive and it is like that, but there's no dog.
Right.
And then they come to next time.
And they have a dog.
There's a dog in there.
And Richard ends up asking Onslow about the dog. And Onslow said, "Oh, she adopted us last week. I thought she'd sleep on the bed, but she really likes the car." So it's her car. Right?
That's her doghouse, basically.
Yeah, they just made it her doghouse.
Yeah. And you'll find as you watch the TV show, Hyacinth complains because the dog always barks at her.
And never at Richard.
Richard walks by and he's like, he like does a little like head salute nod. Head nod to salute to the dog, and then Hyacinth walks by and he barks at her. Mm-hmm. It's hilarious.
One other thing I wanted to point out was that in this episode, Hyacinth goes over to see Daddy, but never actually does.
Nope.
She doesn't even go upstairs to see him.
Nope.
And he leaves in the middle of her being there.
Right.
And then comes back as she's leaving.
Right. So it never accomplished what she came over there for.
No.
Yeah.
Even though Richard said, "Well, you visited your daddy." She didn't. She didn't do that.
Didn't check on him. Didn't get it accomplished at all.
I also want to point out that she waves off sexual assault in this episode to herself and to what Daddy does as well, because he pinches one of the people who's taking him home on the butt.
Mm-hmm.
She just continually waves it off from herself, from what he does, what anybody else does.
It's unconsented touch.
Mm-hmm. But she continually waves it off like it's nothing.
Mm-hmm.
It's got to affect her in some ways.
It's a social construct that,
mm-hmm.
I mean, unless we start having some kind of movement, that's going to continue to be a problem.
Couple things. Bevy is a British slang for alcoholic drink. Onslow says something about
it's not a beverage?
No.
It's specific for alcohol.
Yeah.
Oh, all right.
And then Cardone Hall is not a real place.
Okay.
No. Stately homes are large mansions in the countryside. Some are open to the public, like this one is supposed to be. For filming, they used Broughton Castle.
Oh, all right.
So.
Wonder if the art in there was the art from the...
Probably. They probably didn't dress it.
That would be cool.
They probably just left it.
That would be cool.
So episode 4, you get a real deep dive into the physical comedy of Patricia.
Yes.
Because she's climbing over the wall and running, because she's trying to pretend that this one house that she just stopped in front of is Daisy's house, because Elizabeth is driving her.
Yes. Okay,
and
so
she has to
little
stop
side note, Hyacinth does not drive.
No, Hyacinth never drives.
No. She has either
drives.
Richard drive
or Elizabeth.
Or Onslow. I'm sorry, or
Elizabeth.
Elizabeth drives, and later there will be other episodes where other people are driving.
Yeah, Onslow and the vicar and things like that.
Right, because she has to take rides for people.
But she doesn't drive.
She does not drive.
She backseats drives, passenger drives.
Oh my gosh, so much so.
She tells you where to go.
Where is that note that I had? Is it this episode or another episode?
But in this episode, it's a lot of physical comedy.
It was the one with the gas station where she... So if we backtrack just a tiny bit.
To episode 3.
Yeah, episode 3, where she tells him there's a cyclist, and he's like, I clocked the cyclist, right? I got you. And then she goes, well, mind the lorry. which mind means look out for the lorry, right? And the lorry is a truck. It's a service truck, basically, like a dump truck or a box truck, something like that. So, and he's like, where's the lorry? What lorry? And she's like, over there. And it's like parked across the two highways, the two streets that you would have to get there. He's like, why would I be worried about a parked lorry across the motor carriageway?
Was that in this season?
Yeah, it was.
Oh, I didn't write that down.
And she goes, I don't like your tone.
I didn't
And
realize
Richard goes, changing tone.
I didn't realize that was this in this season.
Yeah, and this is something she does, though. She like, does. Mind this, mind that. And she's telling, and then she's like, I don't understand why you have to ask me where to park and all these things. Yeah. She like backtracks and gaslights him. It's terrible.
Jumping back a little bit, he says, I'll park down the way.
Right.
So I don't block the road. And she gets on to him
right.
for not consulting with her first.
Right. I wish you would consult me about these things. And then she gets on to him for consulting her.
Yep.
Can't win. Cannot win.
No. The one thing I have for this episode, because it's mostly physical comedy, is that when Elizabeth is waiting in the car for Hyacinth to get back, she's reading a paper. All fine and good. Did you catch the headline?
Yes, I did. And this is the first time I've ever seen it, too. And I've watched the show a million times.
So the headline is, Can a Woman Be Good in Bed?
Which, if you know Elizabeth, like if you watch the whole series, she never talks about sex, never talks about, I mean,
Hyacinth avoids it like a passion.
Oh, yes, very much so. And it's just not something that is talked about amongst, with a neighborly church lady.
That's not brought up.
No, Elizabeth.
The only time Hyacinth has to talk about it is when Daisy forces her to.
Right. Or Rose.
Rose forces her to. But normally it's Daisy. Because Rose knows how to be. Daisy asks her for advice.
Right. So funny. I mentioned something about aging and the way they treat the old lady for the charity shop.
Oh, Counselor Nugent?
No. The lady that claims she's married to Daddy or is engaged to Daddy.
Oh, that lady.
Yeah, and you said something about physical comedy. So
they do the physical back and forth.
It's her son, the lady's son, the character, right? Her son, and then Onslow, and they're literally pushing her back and forth, and she's like on her. I don't know how this woman did this because she's got to be in at least her 60s. In this acting role, and she's basically using her feet as a rocking chair kind of curve or whatever, and she's just allowing herself to be pushed forward and backward between these two men who are much taller than her.
Right.
And I'm like, no one in their right mind would be pushing an old lady this way. And it is supposed to be funny, right?
It is, and it is kind of funny.
It is kind of funny.
Because of the way she reacts, because she's so still.
She's very still, very stiff.
She's very stiff. Yeah. Yeah. She just keeps saying, he asked me to be married.
Right. I've got witnesses.
I've got witnesses. That's all she keeps saying. One of my favorite quotes from that episode is the son says something along the lines of, is it always a madhouse around here? And then Richard, as he's being pulled in by Hyacinth to the living room, says, what do you mean?
Right. I don't know what you're talking about.
I don't know what you're talking about.
So you had mentioned Counselor Nugent. She comes back.
She does.
To another episode later.
Couple episodes.
Counselor Nugent is what Hyacinth is striving to be.
Yes.
Right? This very...
prim and proper.
I was going to say tightly wound.
Yes, that too.
Very socially, like, in line with like the properness, right? And upper class. Gosh, what am I looking for? Not boundaries, but like guidelines, and it's very Victorian in the way that social. You do it this way, and this is the way you do this, right? It's very
Puritan almost.
Yes, that's religious, but
it is.
Victorian is more social, the way that I'm describing it.
True.
And Counselor Nugent follows that, right? She's very much a high-level leader in the community, and Hyacinth strives to be like her. Mm-hmm. And I found it really funny that Hyacinth is introducing Counselor Nugent to Elizabeth, and Counselor Nugent talks about, or Hyacinth mentions how Counselor Nugent is all about volunteering and helping the less fortunate and things like that. And I wrote that Counselor Nugent has no time for socializing, but wants to bring happiness to others by volunteering. But she has a limit, because she said she doesn't want to bring them too much happiness, because they shouldn't, she doesn't approve of them having engaging in sexual relations.
Yes.
So Counselor Nugent has a level of happiness that she can agree to.
Right.
Not too much happiness.
Not too much happiness.
Especially for those that are less fortunate. How dare you be too happy?
Right? How dare you?
Especially with sex.
Of course. Because it comes back to sex should only be for procreation.
Right. Can I mention here, too, that when Rose was delivering her goodies to the charity shop, it was her laundry. But
it was.
She was talking to Hyacinth about how she was tired of, she's given up on men, right?
Yes. I have the quote if you want it.
Oh, yeah. You can go for the quote then.
She says, "I haven't given up men. I've given up worrying about men."
I thought that was a wonderful line.
It is. It's a fabulous line. I also want to point out that's the only time in that episode, or the only time in the whole series, the whole thing, that Hyacinth physically shows affection to one of her siblings.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because she kisses her on the cheek.
She does. She actually calls her back and says, "Come here."
Yeah,
and she kisses her on the cheek.
It's the only time.
Yeah. Wow. I didn't notice that before. Oh, yeah. I just thought that was a great line.
It is. It's a great line. I love that line.
Yeah.
There's several great lines in this whole series. And one of my favorites, which is, we've already passed it. We've been gone. Rose says, "I wouldn't touch your husband with a 6-foot pole," and then pauses and then says,
"I wish I had a 6-foot pole.
Wish I could find a 6-foot pole," meaning a Polish man. It's just great.
The innuendo there is so funny.
Wish I could find a 6-foot pole.
Right. It's so funny. Okay, where are we?
Episode 5.
I got lost in my notes.
Let's talk real quick about Toy Boy versus Boy Toy. Gosh. Toy Boy is just how the British say it. I couldn't really find any record of any reason why. Boy Toy just makes more sense, at least in American terms to me. We always use Boy Toy. There's no reason why it's switched, as far as I could tell. Toy Boy and Boy Toy, there's no real reason.
It's very genderized.
That's
all I can think of.
The only thing I could find was that somebody said Toy Boy might have something to do with an older woman wanting a younger man, and a boy toy is more just a plaything for anybody.
Oh.
If that makes any sense?
That's possible. Has some age stuff to it.
It could be an age thing. I'm not quite sure. I tried to look it up. No one's really talked about it, so not sure.
Okay. I'd like to mention here, too, that we open with Richard trying to go outside to garden. And he leaves he's trying to leave with one button undone on his shirt. Okay. So then she says, "Richard, are we missing something?" And he's like, "I kissed you this morning. I said good morning to you." She's like, "Not that, dear." Right? Very condescending the way she says it. And she's like, "You need a tie. You can't have you going out there with your shirts wide open." Right?
Right.
Which
I guess a single button.
It's a single button undone. So 2 things with this. One, shirts likely means an undershirt with his overshirt, right? The button down.
And so he's also wearing a sweater.
And he's wearing a cardigan sweater.
Like 3 layers.
Right.
Apologies.
So he's wearing clothes. It's not like we have seen him in another episode. But
right.
Anyway, so
it's a christening.
Right. He has one button open, but she wants him to wear a tie, and I found that interesting because earlier in the series, in where the vicar's coming for,
he's not wearing a tie.
He's not wearing a tie, and he has 2 buttons undone. We can actually see the hair on his chest.
Oh my gosh!
So that changed.
How risque,
right?
She probably saw someone. That's what it came down to. She probably saw someone.
Maybe someone mentioned it to her. Like, it could have been. It's probably in her own head.
It could have also been that she didn't notice before, and now this was the first time she noticed.
Yeah, I do. I mean, as with the her indecision with the visiting daddy and not visiting daddy, like she does move the goalposts, so nobody knows. This is what makes Elizabeth so nervous.
Yeah.
Because
that's why she's
Hyacinth
so shaky.
changes.
She breaks things.
Yeah. Hyacinth changes where those lines are because Hyacinth still doesn't know all of the ins and outs because she comes from low income. She wasn't properly turned out, as it were.
Right.
And, you know, she didn't have a cotillion. She didn't have...
No, so she does not know. She doesn't know the ins and outs.
She was not groomed in that way. Yeah.
Nope. I have 2 more things for episode 5. So let's start with milk being delivered at home, because this is the first time introduction to the milkman, who comes back multiple times.
Right.
And then he slows down, and then find out why in season 5 of why you see him less and less. So in 1880, roughly, milk started to be delivered to homes in glass bottles. So that was a normal thing for over 100 years.
Wow.
That was a normal occurrence.
So 1880 to 1980.
Roughly.
Wow.
And then in 1990, supermarkets began selling milk in plastic bottles. This is what starts the decline of milk delivery.
Okay.
There was also some deregulation stuff and stuff like that, but
yeah,
that was the main thing. So
this town didn't have that just yet.
Possibly, who knows? It was just in 1990, so it was still a thing. As of 2016, there was still like 3% of people who still do it.
Right.
So it's not a thing anymore.
I didn't write down the conversation for this one. I was remembering a conversation, but I'm not sure it's this episode. But do you remember what the conversation was between the two of them about the milk? Oh, I think for this one it was surprise me because you brought me clean bottles.
Yeah.
And he's like, I'd love to, sarcastically.
he does not like her.
He's gonna bring her yogurt, and she's like, whatever flavor you like, and he's like, okay, I can do that.
I can surprise you.
So funny. And in this episode too, we find out that Elizabeth realizes she has a lot of anxiety coming over to Hyacinth's home. So we get a little conversation between the two of them about that, and Hyacinth cannot understand why that is.
I didn't catch that.
Yeah. So it's just a little conversation, but it's an introduction to the audience that Elizabeth does recognize she has anxiety when she's visiting Hyacinth and cannot keep up with the goalposts of how proper and prim and all the things.
Well, what's really funny is it's not Hyacinth's house. It's around Hyacinth. And Elizabeth learns that later as time goes on, because she tries to hold cups when Hyacinth's not around in Hyacinth's house.
Right.
She's fine. But when Hyacinth shows up, she's not fine.
Right.
So.
And that's because Hyacinth creates a world around her that no one else can see. And so that's chaos to everybody else. Yeah.
So I have one more thing for episode 5. So this is all about the UK. So keep that in mind. This is not US, this is UK. So in 1990, the age of consent was 16.
My goodness.
For heterosexual acts.
Wow.
It was 21 for homosexual acts.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Which is why Daisy's toy boy is 17.
Oh, okay.
Because he's legal age, technically.
Yeah. Yeah. It's so funny how Daisy's attempt did not work at all.
No.
Onslow's like completely...
It didn't work even with Richard. It didn't. Like, he noticed and mentioned it to Onslow, but Onslow's like, didn't know she liked motorbikes.
Right. Just
that's how you end it. Okay.
Right. And Onslow was like, how can we incorporate this dude into our family and make him do stuff around the house?
Yeah. But how can he help me?
Yeah, exactly.
Including smoking and possibly drinking.
So are you grown then?
So the age to drink is 18. Still the same.
So you can have sex before you can drink.
Yes. And the age to smoke, or specifically buy products to smoke, because Onslow asked for a cigarette.
Yeah.
Yeah, is 16, or was 16. Is now 18.
And then military? Do we know the age of military?
18, I think, probably.
Over there? Okay.
That's a guess. I didn't look that one up.
Okay.
But
just curious, because it is weird over here, too, in the U.S.
I just found it interesting that there was a split between the heterosexual acts and the homosexual acts. That has now been rectified, and now it's the same across the board. But
just so we cover everybody, did you happen to catch if there was any legislation on transgender folks or non-binary folks or gender non?
When it comes to sex,
affirming?
No.
Okay.
And the age of consent, no.
Okay. Didn't know if that was verbalized in the actual law. So just
I didn't read the law because
Just
that's way too long.
Oh
I am
God,
not a lawyer.
I'm so nerdy. I would have read the law.
I'm not a lawyer.
Maybe we can get it in the show notes. I'm not sure.
I am not a lawyer. That's going to be in the show notes.
I think the quote that fits the whole shebang of the series, keeping up appearances, is this quote.
Mm-hmm.
And Hyacinth says it. So from her perspective, it's very untidy. Suits interbreeding with t-shirts.
Yes.
It's a wonderful line, and it's so short, and it really explains the whole class situation and how she perceives people around her, right? And how you dress matters, how you comport yourself matters, what you say matters. All of the things add into that. But that quote really ties in the whole series.
It does.
Every season.
I would say episode 6 is my least favorite episode, and I found out why while watching it for this podcast.
Oh, okay.
It's too repetitive.
Okay.
So Hyacinth talks to the vicar twice about Violet and Bruce. Mm-hmm. It's like they used 2 different takes because to intersplice, because it was roughly the same information.
Right.
And then it moves on to Onslow and Daisy showing up.
That can be, from my perspective, being a mental health person, that can be a coping mechanism.
Could be
for Hyacinth.
And that
she has nothing else to tell him.
That might be what they were trying to portray. Yeah. I'm not quite sure, but that was the first repetitiveness. The second repetitiveness is when she's in the call box calling the vicar's wife and then explaining her situation. She details her
So this is
situation.
something that will come up over and over again, and I was going to mention this too, is that Hyacinth specifically talks too much.
Yes.
Everything has adjectives and descriptors, and it's way too much information. It's a lot of TMI. We didn't need to know that information. And Patricia Rutledge delivers the lines
she's
perfectly.
Perfect.
And it's just a lot. I don't even know how she memorized all of that, but there's a lot of descriptors and stuff where she adds, like, her telephone is a white slimline telephone, right?
Like
private white, yeah. So there's all these words that go before she even gets to the actual thing that she's trying to describe. So think the bakery little cakes that she's trying to order. She wants 6 superior
fresh cream
cakes. So it's before you even get to cream cakes, which the bakery only needs to know, I need 6 cream cakes, and I'll be by later to deliver it. That's all you need to say. That's not what she says.
No, but that's the reason why I figured out this is just not. This is also the episode where they talk about acid rain. Just FYI. Yeah, because it does rain in this episode.
I think part of it is it's the highlight of Hyacinth's grip on her delusion and her fantasy world, and how everywhere around her, even Violet, breaks that wall and she cannot continue to hold that grip.
Everyone does.
And right at the very end, what does she have to do because the car breaks down? She has to ride this crappy ass van with her niece and the 2 dads,
which is really funny. So that's the thing. I like Stephanie, and I like the episode that they have. So Stephanie's the niece. I like Stephanie and her little talk. Polycule, whatever you want to call it. Her little throuple.
That's good.
That she's got going on. Especially for it being a 1990s episode.
Oh, yeah.
I wish we could have seen her again, number 1, because she doesn't come back. Number 2, I wish the episode was better. Because then I could enjoy it more, because it's just too repetitive. So then by the time we get to Stephanie, I'm like, I don't care.
Aw.
I like Stephanie.
I think maybe this might be to, like, your age, possibly.
It could be. I think it's just repetitive.
Yeah. I didn't ever catch the repetitive part.
So I've got 2 things for episode 6. Hyacinth mentions a cash card.
Oh, yeah.
So a cash card is a card that's only used for pulling money out of an ATM. It's not a debit card. You can't use it that way.
Yeah, back in the day.
So that was the precursor to a debit card.
Yes, it was. It was an ATM card. Yeah.
Yeah, debit cards actually were created in the 70s, but they weren't popularized until the late 80s, beginning of the 90s.
Wow.
So that's why she's talking about getting a cash card. So that means she's behind the current trend already.
Yeah. Well, good catch, baby.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then last thing was on the van, which I found interesting that it's written on the van darker at the very last scene than when you see it.
Oh, I didn't catch the writing. I know that it says something.
It says, say no to Trident, which is, Trident is the nuclear weapon system in the UK.
Mm.
And it was the slogan, or maybe still is, for the Campaign for Nuclear Disarmament, whose their whole thing has been getting rid of nuclear stuff altogether.
I like that.
Yeah.
That speaks to that character.
It does. It speaks to Stephanie. On the windshield of the van, it says love and peace, too. Mm-hmm. There's peace signs.
Yeah.
Hyacinth
when
calls
Hyacinth...
hippie caravanette.
Caravannettes. Yeah, it's not even caravan. It's caravannettes.
No. Or van. She could just say van.
She could, but she can't. She has to have the posher word.
She does.
What was one of your favorite things about this show? Because this show is something different for me than it is for you.
Right, because I grew up, this was one of the shows I was allowed to stay up and watch on a Sunday night before school. Mm-hmm. I was allowed to stay up late. Mm-hmm. This was one of the shows that I was allowed to watch because I was allowed to watch British TV late at night.
Do we want to explain why you were allowed to watch British TV late on a Sunday night before school?
To make me more worldly, I guess. I'm not quite sure.
No, it was because I found comfort in it and I wanted to share that with you. And so if I found comfort in it, I was sharing with you that you might find comfort in it as well.
Which I do. And in parts of it, I really like, my favorite part is that it's very quippy and it's very quick with the wording. And some of it is just...
It's intelligent humor.
It is.
For lack of a better way of putting it. It's academic humor.
It's not... And even Onslow is academic because he uses the word Barrymore.
Yeah.
Or Barrymore, something like that. I can't remember what it was. I wrote it down somewhere in my notes. It's gone now. But it means crazy because he was talking about daddy. Oh. But even Onslow is educated because he does do, this becomes a thing later, but he does do Open University.
Which is a TV channel? And he still gets stuff wrong.
But he still gets stuff wrong, but he also gets things from it.
Yeah,
and he starts to think.
Yeah.
Existentially, basically. But even he, the quote-unquote low life of the show,
is an educated man.
Is still very educated.
Yeah. Yeah. So you can't use his class against him.
I think another thing I really like about this show is that it's not... Because this is a common problem with American TV shows, is that it's not teenagers or 20-somethings.
Right. These are middle-aged people.
They've
had a whole life before we even get started with them.
And we get to meet Richard before he retires, because he does retire in the course of the whole series.
So I mentioned that in my notes too, is that we don't know the history of Richard and Hyacinth and their marriage.
No.
And I even wrote in my notes, has it always been this way? Or has Hyacinth gotten worse over time because she's aging and she leans more into the delusions?
Right. Well, and was she better when Sheridan was around, or was she worse?
See, I don't know. And we find out a little bit more about that when she shares with other characters as you move along in the series. She really likes to share about her family, especially Sheridan.
She does. Specifically Sheridan and Violet. Those are the two families she agrees with.
Well, because she doesn't know all the things about Sheridan.
No.
Because it is implied.
She thinks she knows, but then she doesn't know. And Richard knows, but yeah.
Yeah, Richard knows because he reads between the lines, right?
Right.
But Sheridan is gay from what we can surmise from all of the commentary.
And he has a partner.
He has a partner.
We haven't actually met, and we don't meet. His name is Tarquin.
Right.
And in this first series, Tarquin is making curtains.
Right.
That's where Sheridan is moving into.
He's won awards for embroidery.
And of course, that's when Richard and Onslow look at each other like, no regular, like, straight man does that.
Right. Not generally. No.
Not generally.
But that's a stereotype,
It's
right?
a stereotype.
It's a way to describe gay without saying the word gay. And I don't know if that has to do
They never
with...
use the word.
They never use the word. No.
And
they never use same sex. They never use homosexual. Nope. They never, it's always implicated or...
It's always implied, and Hyacinth's always happy that he's not chasing after women and da-da-da-da-da.
Yeah.
That Sheridan is
he's
not.
Spending time with his studies, and he's working on curtains.
And working with,
And learning new things about that stuff. So she's super happy that he's not engaging in extracurricular activities that might get him in trouble. So, because she's seeing it from a heteronormative lens.
Of course.
It does not even, it's not in her realm to think of him as gay.
Of course not.
So I have a little bit of a note on that actually in my head. And I've thought about this after learning about neurodivergent brains and things like that. Because I've been watching this show since it came out, right?
Right.
So if I see it from a neurodivergent lens, Hyacinth is neurodivergent.
Yes.
There's some OCD, something going on in there. Mm-hmm. She's got coping mechanisms. There's anxiety, right? There's stuff going on there. And that makes sense that Sheridan would be gay. If she actually explored herself and got to the crux of who she actually is and got away from the delusion, she might find out more stuff about herself. But Sheridan seems to have, from what I can learn about the whole show, he seems to have taken that route and distanced himself from the delusion that he grew up in.
So you're saying because Sheridan learned from Hyacinth about living in a delusion, that he has now gone on a self journey.
Yeah, I think it's forced him.
That's why he found out he's gay.
Yeah.
That's why he figured that out.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, there are statistics too that lean that LGBT identifying people in general, doesn't matter creed, color, whatever, that there's a propensity to be neurodivergent, that we have neurodivergent brains, and we have our sexuality is tied to that.
Interesting.
Yeah, I find that interesting too. I haven't done a lot of research on it, but that's
interesting. We can end on a funny note. I have a quote that I forgot to mention, and I just find it funny.
Sure.
So Hyacinth mentions something about frivolity, and Richard says,
yes, because Richard is
frivolity. 30 years of marriage, and I can't remember a single frivol.
She's judging him for walking around his bedroom, coming out of a bathroom, right? This is a master bedroom. Coming out of his own bathroom in an open button shirt, his boxers, and socks with their garters, to hold his socks up. And I think he still has his shoes on too. I'm not sure. Yeah. Anyway, so he's dressed in this way.
He also goes to answer the phone that way.
Yes, he answers the phone this way.
He gets in trouble because Hyacinth says something along the lines of, "Get something on. You shouldn't be answering the phone in that condition."
Right.
And even though she told him to go answer the phone.
She did tell him to go answer the phone. So funny. Oh my gosh.
Oh, I do have one more quote, and it's a Richard quote. He has some of the best clips.
He does.
Across the whole series, the whole thing. Not just this series, whatever. Is that Hyacinth, trying to avoid the dog, tries to tell Richard to go ahead of him in front so that the dog will not bark at her, will bark at him. And Richard says, "What if all this power goes to my head?"
It's great.
Because he's allowed to go first.
He gets great quips because Hyacinth doesn't listen to him.
No.
She doesn't listen to him at all. It's just humming to her or something. I don't know. She doesn't hear him at all.
There's at one point where he's like, "I wish I could do that."
Right. Not listen. Oh, I have some slang.
Oh,
I can do the slang.
Do your slang.
Okay, so
we'll end on slang.
Some slang is that Onslow says the word "ta" when accepting an object or an item or something coming from somebody else. "Ta" is a shortened version of "thank you," and it is in a lot of European type shows. Right? It's not a regional thing. It's like across the board. I think, especially from the TV shows I've watched. So Even in Denmark and places like that, they have the word ta. So it's a thank you. So it's just like a one syllable type thing. Looking smart. When you call somebody smart, that means that they're dressed in, they look put together.
Right.
They look like they tried.
Elizabeth said that, didn't she?
Yeah, Elizabeth said that. Wet the baby's head.
Ansla says that at the christening when they're waiting for
Yeah,
Stephanie.
and he's making a joke about going across, which I find is so funny, that from the church is a bar.
Is a bar, yeah.
Yeah, and wetting the baby's head means you're celebrating the birth of a baby. So that's a little bit of a colloquial thing. And the word vicar, if you don't know what the word vicar is, it's a clergyman, parish leader type person for the Church of England and the Episcopal Church. So if you don't know what the word vicar is, that's pretty common over there.
Yeah, and they can get married. They're not like priests.
They can get married and have kids. Yes.
We'll eventually watch The Vicar of Dibley.
Yes.
Where the vicar is a woman.
That is.
And played by Dawn French, and I'm so excited.
Me too.
We'll get there. We'll get to her.
We will get to her. So, yeah, that's it, I think.
All right. I think we did well. Hope you guys enjoy Keeping Up Appearances as much as we do. We watch it a lot.
Thank you, everyone, for joining us on Braless Watch. And take care of yourselves. Be kind to yourself.
Love yourself.
Lots of compassion. Yeah.
Clothing optional. Always.
Always.
Clothing's always optional.
Thanks, guys.
Bye, everybody.